How do you design the perfect group coaching offer? If you're a new or relatively new coach and you're ready to take your business to the next level and to grow, this life is for you. I will talk with Jody about how you can develop a group coaching program to double your revenue and to work 30 hours per week or less. Jody, we just started the conversation before the live. What
Yeah.
has been your journey? Where did you start? Have you always been in group coaching? And what has been your experience?
Yeah. So I started as a personal trainer back in 2003. So I did the whole corporate ladder thing. So I was a personal trainer. I was a fitness manager. So I managed all the trainers. I then opened clubs all across Canada, and I was responsible for building the personal training team all across Canada. So hired over 1,000 trainers, led all of those teams. And then I ended up as a regional manager with my own group of 13 clubs and 100 trainers. So the group coaching really started there because every day I was talking to my 13 club managers and, running the show there. So, I probably spent 6 or 7 years in a group coaching kind of role in my corporate life. And then in 2013, I left to go online and do my own thing. And probably like many people who are listening, and maybe even you as well, I started with one-on-one and hit the ceiling and repeating myself all day long and not able to make the money that I wanted and all of that stuff. And so when I started business number 2, which is the one that I'm doing now, I decided no one-on-one, only group coaching, and went all in and just, really tried to narrow down exactly what that means, what that looks like, and how to help people do the same. And now the people that I work with are all of my clients also have group coaching programs.
No, I mean, I already can feel being a little bit starstruck, like imagining
Stop.
so many, such a big business, working with so many people. And one thing that I always try to prevent is like, oh my God, Jody is so amazing. I will never be her. So I'm curious, what have been some of the mistakes that you have made along the way to being now where you are?
Oh, geez. Okay, I'm going to share one that's probably not going to be popular. People are going to be like, what? But when I first started, I've been online since 2014. So it's been a while. Like I started sort of early days for people. And, webinars and email lists and all this stuff was like all the rage, Facebook ads, blah, blah, blah. And honestly, I went from doing all of those things and getting decent results to doing much more organic, much more personal connection, much more relationship based, content, conversations, events, all of that stuff, and getting way better results. So I think it's just a learning curve, right? Like you come in, you're excited, online is great, there's so many things to do, and everybody wants to go and do the fancy stuff, right? Make it automated, make it work without you, make it whatever. But at the end of the day, like we actually need to build relationships first, and it's actually the fastest way to convert somebody. So if I'm going to meet somebody on my email list and they're one of hundreds or thousands, it's nowhere near the same thing as if I am in the DMs with someone, I've hosted a virtual event where they've come and met me, they've seen me, they've had me answer their questions, right? So I think the biggest mistake that coaches are making, especially early in their career, like before they're doing 6 figures, I would say the biggest mistake people are making is trying to automate everything and make it fancy. Like go back to what you know, pretend you're on the gym floor, talk to people.
Yeah, I mean, this is a whole conversation that leads us from the actual topic, but at some point I need to get more of your thoughts on this, because if I imagine having 5 or 10% conversion rate, or maybe even 1% conversion rate in sales conversation one-on-one, versus, okay, my email list, I have maybe 5% of my email list clicked on it. email is like, yeah, it's a normal day.
No,
5% conversion rate in sales conversation one-on-one, I would be crying all day. But from a high level perspective, because I want to go there, but we are talking about group coaching offers.
yes.
From a high level perspective, what are the key foundational elements of a good group coaching offer?
Okay, so there's two pieces. There's like the foundational kind of like principles, and then there are the elements. So the principles are, these are like the way in which it's designed. Okay. So for me, I like to have an offer that's a little bit longer, 4 to 6 months minimum, especially in fitness, because people are not getting results. Like when we started selling personal training in 2003, we were selling like 3 sessions, 5 sessions, and it's like no one's actually getting results like that. Right. So as the industry grew, just like coaching is growing, right? As the fitness industry grew over the years, we started selling year-long packages, right? People were buying 144 sessions, 3 days a week, blah, blah, blah. So for me, 4 to 6 month minimum commitment is the first foundational thing. The second is I like to do what I call pay for what you get revenue model, which means you don't have people pay in full. They pay monthly. Whatever they pay for is what they're getting that month. And the reason I like to do that is because it creates that consistency and predictability for people. So now if I have a client who joins, let's say they're paying me $250 a month. If I get 4 clients a month, that's $1,000 a month for 6 months. And every month that I gain 4 clients, now I know next month I'm making $2,000. Then I know I'm making 3, 4, 5, 6, right? And every time I do it, I'm stacking it. So one of the biggest mistakes that I made when I started was one-on-one, paid in full, short-term programs. That's 3 mistakes. And now it's none of them, right? Now it's 6 months minimum. So you're not constantly chasing people. Pay for what you get is the second one. And then the third one is, a lot of people that I talk to think they have to create a course. When they're doing group coaching, they think they have to create a course first, and they don't. So instead of creating a course, what I recommend is that people create a resource library. It can be divided up into modules, like 3, 4, 5 modules with the content inside. But you don't have to have this perfectly done, step-by-step, every single little thing you could ever think of program before you start group, because the magic and the coaching is going to happen on the coaching call, right? That's what it's for. So library, not course. That's number 3. Number 4 is rolling enrollment. So making sure that people can come on at any time. Like you're building a business. Do you really want to have to say no to people? No, right? Let people come in anytime they want, which matches with the library, because people can come in at any time. They can get on the calls anytime. You can give them the information. You direct them to the right place inside the vault where they can go and get it. Simple. And then the 5th one is like what we were talking about already, which is personal invitation. So this isn't like send an email to your list of 100 or 200 people and hope someone buys. This is get into your messages, actually talk to people, build relationships. I usually have my clients host virtual events, which could be like a mini workshop. It could be a dinner party. It could be a meet and greet. I don't care what it is, but something where they see you face to face. And then after that, it's personal invitation. Hey, I'm opening up spots in my brand new program or my whatever program that I've just upgraded, like something exciting. I think you'd be a great fit. I'd love to chat with you about it. Special opportunity. Would you like to talk? Let me know. Let's put some time. Personal invitation. That's number 5. So those are the foundational like concepts or key, elements that they need.
I think no, I mean we can for every single key element that you talked about, we can at least talk a full hour. And I believe there's an opportunity that we will talk about at the end of this video as well. But before we dive deeper into the nitty-gritty and how to do all these things, with the clients that you're working with, what have you seen? What are some of the benefits that group coaching has brought to their business?
Okay, so there are tons. So one is you actually get to charge less and help more people. So as fitness industry people, what do we want to do? We just want to help, right? How many people came into this business being like, I don't care about money. I just want to help. I just want to help. I just want to help. So when you do group, you can help more people because of the volume and the way that your schedule is. And also you can charge less, which means for a lot of people who maybe couldn't have done $1,000 or $800 a month, but they can do 250. So there's kind of two different ways where you're being able to help more people. Also, you're creating community, right? So everyone knows if you're in fitness, you should know, accountability is massive, right? That's why people hire a trainer in the first place. But on top of having you, now they have friends, right? Now they have other people who are going through it with them, who understand it, who are in the trenches, right? So it creates that sense of community, which can also help with the accountability and the steps forward, and them, not allowing one misstep to have them completely fall off and throw everything out the window for the week until Monday when they start again. Right? So, and I think the last thing is, when you do it with rolling enrollment, the way that we do it, you end up having people who've been in the program for maybe a day, a week, 2 weeks. And then you also have people who might have been in the program for 6 months, or maybe they've even renewed. And so they're there longer than that. And it's actually really nice because the people who are new can learn from the ones who have been there for a while. They can start to learn the language. They can start to see like what's going to happen. And the ones who have been there for a while, it's kind of nice to have the new ones because they're fresh, they're excited, they're asking questions you might not have thought about in a long time. So the mix of new and old is like really nice to have as well in the group.
Ooh, there are two main things that really stand out for me. One is if you're old and you see new people come in, you almost always also have some kind of a identity shift. Like, now I have to be a little bit of a role model because I've been here for 6 months already. So I have to a little bit have a kind of a mentor role. And the accountability part is so important. I remember starting out as a group fitness coach, the first 3 rows in my classes were always the same. They all knew each other. They were all connected. They were, oh, I just want to let you know that she is not coming because she's doing this and this. So they were all connected with each other.
Absolutely.
What happens if coaches don't go in the direction of group coaching, when they're sticking with low ticket offers, for example, or they try the high ticket one-on-one model? What are some of the downsides that can happen when we go in this direction?
Sure. I mean, low ticket is a volume game, right? So if you're going to be selling low ticket, you want to sell $37 products or whatever it is. I mean, no matter which strategy you pick, someone's doing it and they're doing it well, right? So it's not that it's wrong or it's not that it's bad. It's not any of that stuff. It just depends what you want to be doing with your time, right? If you are trying to sell something that's $37, like, you're going to have to do some serious volume. And how you go about that is up to you, whether you spend the money on ads, whether you put in the time to be DMing and creating a ton of conversations. Like, cool, you could do that. But maybe you don't want to spend that money, and maybe you don't want to be in that many DMs, right? And group coaching is like a nice like middle ground for everything, right? And then with one-on-one, I mean, there's a ceiling, right? So if you want to be making more money, and unless you plan on charging your clients double and triple what they're paying you now, there is going to be a ceiling no matter what you do, right? And as personal trainers, we know, an average person's regular week is 40 hours, but in personal training, we used to consider in our corporate life, we used to consider 25 hours full time because it's draining and it's taxing and it's all this one-to-one energy. And I'm sure there are some people listening who are doing 40 hours, but that's a lot. And that is like burnout city coming right up. So if you don't want to be doing that and you want to be able to make more, like, get into group coaching. Because for us, like, I'll give you like one quick little number here. For every 10 to 15 clients that I have 1 hour of coaching a week. 15 clients, 1 hour of coaching a week, right? So imagine how many people can be served at the same time without it depleting any of the way that they're being served, right? Because when we talk about the elements, we'll talk about what to include in the offer, which will help make sure that they still get personal attention, right? But you can be able to help so many more people in way less time. So you're going to have a ceiling in one-on-one. So if you love it, I mean, cool. If you're happy making the money that you can make in that amount of time and that works for you, again, cool. But if you want to grow and you want to make more and you want to do all that stuff, like, group's the way to go.
Yeah, and I can totally relate to the aspect of emotional labor, remembering having coaching call after coaching call after coaching call after coaching
Exhausting.
call. And then you'd actually try to go really into the dimension of transformative coaching. Like you have a lot of emotional
Yeah.
work to do with the client. Then it's like, after
you're done.
3 or 4, it's like, I need ice cream to survive this.
Right? Yeah, it's a lot. And like, okay, maybe until you're 30, like that's cool. And then you get over 30, and then you're like, I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. So we have people excited. They understand they can help more. They can help more people. They can work less time.
Yeah.
They have the opportunity to build something really that impacts more people. But the question is, how do I launch my first group coaching program?
Okay. So the system that we use gets you to launch your program within 90 days. So yeah. So it's really simple. It's keeping things simple. It's let's not overcomplicate it. It's no fancy email lists and all of these things. It is get into the DMs, meet new people, add new Facebook friends, go into groups, find the people who might be the right avatar for you. We do hosting virtual events, dinner party, mini workshop, something that's going to be fun, something that's going to get them in front of you, something where they can build community. So in the workshop, we like to do breakout rooms and get them to meet people and build a community, because then they're going to be like, wow, this was fun. I want to do this more, right? So there has to be a community feel on that event. And usually we throw in a little bit of a Q&A so that you can show up as the expert and answer their questions. So they start to go, oh, this person knows what the heck they're talking about. Like, okay. And then it's just staying connected with them over time. I usually have my clients run 2 events before they open the program. So they do 2 events, 15, 20 people at each one. And then when you go to open the program, you send personal messages inviting them with this special new thing that you're doing, best price they're going to get. You can do a lower price as your like beta test version, right? And give these people that you've met and that you've liked and you've connected with the opportunity to get in at the ground floor. That's it. It's simple. It's no complicated things.
Yeah, and the fact that we have to mention all the time the aspect of let's keep it simple and talk with people is how it's not just how basic, but it's also how luring this concept of all these funnels are, because people forget that, well, the easiest way to get somebody to work with you is to spend time with them. And when you're a business owner in your city, for example, I still remember being invited to birthday parties of children that I never met. But there was this business owner who had a cool idea what they wanted to do. So they invited all their business friends to the birthday party. Their kids can play, eat cake, and all the businessmen were standing around the grill, drinking beer and making business.
That's right. Absolutely.
And so I love the idea of creating virtual events to build this kind of community and connection.
Yeah.
Can you give us a little bit more details on then how you structure the program? Because now we have excited and we message people and they say, yes, I want to spend time around the grill with you and drink beer and lose weight. What's the design of the program?
Okay, awesome. So 5 elements. So the first one is a 1-to-1 element. So this makes sure that people never lose that one-to-one. They never lose that specificity, the personalization. The way you include it could be things like the initial strategy session that most people probably do. It could be some kind of a check-in, throughout. Maybe it's a 6-week, a 12-week, a mid, whatever it is. So check-ins. It could be sending them personal DM messages, like just to see how they're doing. So things that are going to keep it personal. So one-to-one. Group element. So this could be the group coaching call. It could be workshops that you're doing for your clients. It could be having an expert come in and do an interview with you that helps the clients. So group element is the second one. The third element is like check-in element. So this could be inside a Facebook group. This could be using Voxer. This could be using Facebook message, whatever. Some of them are going to have a bit of overlap, right? In terms of which category they're in. But again, it's one of the biggest things you can do to help someone, especially online in fitness, is hold them accountable, right? Like the accountability is massive. And even in person, that is like one of the biggest things that we can do to help our clients actually get results, hold them accountable. So the check-in element is huge for you guys. And then the fourth one is review or audit. So this for fitness professionals would be like having them submit their food journal, having them submit their exercise log, having them show you the sets and reps that they did, whatever it is, using one of your apps or otherwise. Review, audit. And then the fifth one is the resources. So that's the stuff that's going to be inside your vault, in your modules, in whatever way you design it, where they're going to be able to go and either watch a video, use a worksheet, read something, whatever it is. So those are the 5, and then whatever you're putting in as bonuses. So that'd be the +1.
I mean, we should have scheduled this conversation for a couple more hours because
yeah, we can go deep on all this stuff.
I feel that there's such a wealth of experience and knowledge that we won't cover this at all. Let me start, because we had this short conversation before we went live around productivity. You mentioned the personal reach outs, the check-ins, the mid-term check-ins. How do you recommend organizing these things? Are they using a separate calendar? Do they a Trello board? How do you recommend keeping up with your clients?
Okay, great question. So there's a few things. I live by a Google Calendar for sure. And it's not just the big things, it's every day, right? It's Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. I'm writing content, or I'm reaching out to new people. Maybe I'm doing it at 9 o'clock. I'm reaching out to new people, sending new friend requests, going into groups, and I'm also doing it at 2 o'clock. So part of it is having the things that you actually need to do to generate revenue in your schedule. And this is not like, oh yeah, I'm working tomorrow. It's like, no, tomorrow at 9 a.m. it's this, at 10 it's that, it's 3, right? Scheduling all your stuff in. We actually use Asana project management software, which is similar to Trello, to track all of our leads. So everyone we're talking to, every conversation, every message, every interaction, it's all tracked in the cards in Asana. So that's how we know what's going on with everyone, because if you're sending a lot of messages a day, or you're getting a lot of messages a day, like good luck, right? It's going to get lost in the shuffle. So we're using Asana for that. And I think one big thing that a lot of people do is especially if they are parents or they have other major commitments outside of their business, maybe they have a second business, maybe they have a sick parent, whatever, kid, like something else that's really going on, they really have to be careful with their time. I would make sure that you schedule in what I call flex time. And I usually do like 10% of the number of hours you're working a week is in flex time. And what that means is, if you're working a 40-hour week, you have 4 hours a week where you know you're working, but you don't know what you're working on. And the reason you have that is because inevitably something happens throughout the week that throws you off your game, that you didn't get done, that you didn't have time for, yada, yada. And if you don't have that block scheduled in, you're going to be scrambling and catch up and stress and whatever. And you don't need to do that. Instead, you could just look at your calendar and go, okay, I know on Thursday I have time between, and maybe it's 2 2-hour blocks. I have time between 9 and 11. I have time on Friday between 10 and 12. I'm just going to move this thing over there.
Mhm.
So that's a big one, just in terms of like actually planning your schedule. But yeah, I think like living by your Google Calendar, making sure you actually plan your week out, like on Sunday or on Monday morning. Don't go into your day not knowing what you're doing. And using Asana for tracking your leads is massive.
Yeah, and there's so many little elements just to understand how detailed the work with you actually is. It's not like use Asana to organize your stuff. It's like do this, plan this, work
There's
the
a lot more
hours out that you want. The other part that you mentioned is the resource library, and I really like the idea, not having a course but a library. But one question that of course comes up is, what should I put into my library? Do you have some categories or ideas that you generally recommend for coaches to add to their library?
I mean, it really can be personal, right? So it depends what your avatar is. It depends what your philosophy is. It depends how you teach things. Like there isn't a hard and fast, right? Somewhere you might have, some typical ones might be the exercise library, that might be one module. Then you might have a module that's about nutrition. You have a module that's about mindset, for example, so it might just be as simple as that. But you might want to break it down further, right? Maybe you want to break down your workouts into body parts, or maybe you want to have a separate section that has recipes for your clients, or maybe maybe you have a section that has tracking, like everything to do with their tracking in it. Like you really can do whatever you want, and also you can change it. So if people want to start and they have 3 basic modules, fitness, nutrition, mindset, for example, and they just want to start with those 3, cool. And then one day you kind of go, you know what? I've been doing this for a while now. I have more content now. I want to split things up a little bit. You can. It's fine. You're not married to it. You can change it whenever you want. Yeah.
What I often recommend is make a list of everything that you can explain once, and then over time try to create some form of worksheet, little article, video, whatever it is, something that you can create once and then you can save somewhere, so you don't have to explain it again and again.
You got it. Exactly. That's
We've covered.
exactly.
Sorry.
No.
We have covered so much, but what people hopefully understand is that there's a high level overview, and then there's the day-to-day nitty-gritty work. From how do I reach out, how do I organize these virtual events, how do I make an exciting offer, how do I organize my library, what bonuses to add, and so on and so on. And you have a new workshop coming up around designing the perfect group coaching offer. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So that workshop is happening on June the 1st, 2:00 Eastern time. And we're going to actually be designing the group coaching offer live together right then and there. So I'll be going through the foundational concepts. I'll be going through the elements step by step, giving all the examples. We'll talk about pricing. We'll talk about exactly how to put it together. And everyone will be able to also get live feedback that day as well, so that they know, like, does this make sense to all put together? And when we're done, you're going to have your offer, which you can then start selling right away.
And for everyone who's watching, I'm going to add the link in the comments and in the description right now, but I can't emphasize enough how valuable the feedback part is. Having somebody with so much experience like you look over your idea and says, yeah or nah, that is I mean, just from the feedback that you get from this quick feedback, this often is worth thousands of hours of trial and error or thousands of dollars. So that you're doing this during the workshop is absolutely fantastic.
Thank you.
Jody, thank you so much for being here, for sharing all the small details and the big picture. And for everyone who's watching, absolutely make sure that you join Jody's workshop. It's packed full with information, even more than we can cover in just these 30 minutes.
Thank you so much. Well, thank you so much for having me. And yeah, I look forward to having as many of you guys as can make it out to the workshop, and let's get those programs built so you can start selling them.
That's the mindset. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great day. Bye.
Thank you.